Behind Belbora is the story of how Geoffrey Blomfield documented the Aboriginal massacres in the New England area through interviews of the descendants involved. The story is about how a white farmer in a country area discovered the dreadful stories of massacres on his property and in the wider region. As he realized that many of the elders were dying and a lot of these stories were dying with them, he set out to document their stories and make sure these crimes weren't forgotten. Through the lens of a camera, Geoffrey Blomfield's story is told. Behind Belbora comprises of interviews with Geoffrey's direct descendants and some of the descendants of the people in his original research. The film captures the impacts of his writing on the people interviewed and the longer-term relevance of his work. The story of massacres in rural Australia is important for all Australians to understand. The reason it's still relevant today is Australia hasn't fully come to terms with its shocking past and the trauma this has left on the Aboriginal people. Australia still has a highly disproportionate amount of locked up Indigenous people and still hasn't been able to close the life expectancy gap. It's incredible that in only this one concentrated area there are enough massacres to fill a book. They need to understand the scrutiny that Geoffrey faced for simply exposing these crimes and the hardship that blocked many people from reporting what happened. Noted Australian historian Russell Ward says, "This book should be read by every white Australian who possesses a heart and a head." I propose to make a mini documentary called Belbora, going for 8 minutes in duration, comprising of interviews, narration, and images. The goal of this piece is to offer insights into Geoffrey Blomfield as a person and also the relevance of his story today. This documentary will convey this story and issue through the participatory mode. Nichols describes this as when a filmmaker interacts with his or her social actors and participates in shaping what will happen before the camera. One of the key elements of the participatory mode is the filmmaker's interactions with the subject, interview subjects, and issue itself. The narrator/interviewer is going to be the grandson of Geoffrey Blomfield, who is myself. Nichols writes about a strong responsibility to respect the rights and dignities of subjects. Only subjects with fully informed verbal consent will be featured in this documentary. Questions will be given prior to interview in order to avoid ambushing subjects, and they will be given time to reflect and answer only what they see fit. Due to the participatory documentary containing heavily of interviews, there will not be the narrative and issues told mostly through sound. There is some sound from a voiceover, However, subjects contain most creative freedom over sound. Case Study 1. Reconciling Murder, the Mile Creek Massacre by SBS Feed tells the story of the reconciliation of both the descendants of the victims and the perpetrators of Mile Creek Massacre. A few of the things that really influenced me around this video is the way the filmmaker lets the subject speak naturally, yet still remains a lot of narration in question. Also through the handling of social justice principles. So this was done by contrasting the subjects to get a full picture of the issue and why they needed to be discussed. This handling really inspired me to get in touch with some of the descendants of the people that Geoffrey had spoken to be involved. Case Study 2. The Conspiracy of Silent, Queensland's Frontier Killing Times by Timothy Bottom, depicts the atrocities of the Frontier War and the attempts made to cover them up. This video has a similar social justice issue of covering up and conspiracy. I really found that the source material was edited very well alongside interviews and narration, and this intertwining of the three aspects is something I want to incorporate in my piece. The development of the production requires key communication over Zoom to ensure members stay on track with schedule and gather all the key elements. This includes research to find images and quotes and other sources relevant to the story, such as B-roll. Carefully constructed questions, a development of script for narration, good quality capturing of interview footage and audio, both over online recording using QuickTime Player and Skype and Zoom, as well as careful editing which incorporates sound to build the story and make it cohesive and professional. The crew roles. Due to the coronavirus and the state of the world at the moment, it's very hard to abide by strict technical roles, as it's very difficult for us all to be in the same room. Due to this fact, everyone will dabble in different roles. I also find personally it's more of a team effort when each member gets the chance to put input into every section. However, it is still important for each member to have certain responsibilities. These include editor and sound, author, video capturer and quality assurer. That's the person who will be ensuring that the video is edited in the right way. Researcher/B-roll. Schedule. Week 7. We lay out what needs to be researched, discuss roles and gain an understanding into which individual we need to do, discuss questions, email subjects, and write out questions. So start to get everything into a role. Week 8. Ensuring subjects are happy with questions and starting to record the first draft of narration. We also want the shooting schedule finalized, so in week 9 we can conduct all interviews, filming each one and recording it. Compile all video and audio, begin editing, and start looking for a soundtrack. This is when we will need to edit together the teaser. Week 10, we must make sure all the quality of video is up to standard. We must continue editing, finishing off the narration, finish off research, gather anything that is missing, and present it in class. And week 11, we take feedback from class and implement it. Send a draft of the footage to subject, apply the soundtrack to footage, apply the acoustic treatment to the audio, ensure subjects are happy with the edit, and create the last draft of the project. Week 12, final touches on the video's quality, create the finished edit, receive consent from subjects, and export and screen in class. For the budget, all subjects have agreed to be in this documentary for free, and software is also free to own. Due to COVID-19, audio and video will have to be captured on screen recording software, meaning essentially the budget for this project is $0. Thank you.